Hi, thanks for joining me. So, today we're going to do another 7th Gen Collection Voodoo video here, and I'm trying to just give you guys a little shot of Houdini. He's doing really good. He's been being really friendly and curious today. I haven't really had him out, but I was filming him earlier, and he was being really funny. He was coming right up to the camera. Good boy. So he's doing really good, but we're going to embark on what is probably going to be a disaster of a video here, because again, I'm going to try to do this in one cut, so yeah, we'll see how it goes. This is going to be, again, kind of like a relatively straightforward one, but it's going to be all the Nippon Ichi stuff on the PlayStation 3. Now, for Gen 7, it's pretty easy for Nippon Ichi because they didn't really release much stuff on the other systems. They're pretty much a Sony exclusive publisher. They do some stuff on like the Nintendo handhelds, and they did a couple games on the Wii. But for the most part, the bulk of their stuff is on the PlayStation 3 and like Sony handhelds. So we're gonna see a bunch of those today, and actually a bunch of special editions because I'm a pretty big Nippon Ichi fan. They're kind of my company. You know, some people are like Atlas people. I'm a Nippon Ichi guy. So for what that's worth, let's go ahead and get started. So the first one here is Disgaea 3, Absence of Justice. Now, the Disgaea series, of course, started on the PlayStation 2. It's just sort of, Nippon Ichi's like flagship series here, and I would say it's sort of what put them on the map in terms of being able to open up like a U.S. localization branch and, start doing their own localizations instead of having Atlas or Mastiff or somebody else do them for them. So, it was hard for me. I tried doing a little bit of research on like which of these games have special editions and which don't. It's a little complicated, so you guys are going to have to do your own research on that. And again, I'm going to put my disclaimer. Please do your own research. Don't rely on my videos for for just to cover every single game. As far as I know, this list is complete, but it may not be. So anyway, I think there were special editions for this, but I don't really know. It's a pretty common game. This isn't hard to come by. The Disgaea series is really popular. The special editions, though, probably possibly less so. Next up, we have Cross Edge. Now, sort of early in the life of the PlayStation 3, and somewhat early in the life of Nippon Ichi as a publisher, I wasn't really, just all over every new release that they were releasing. So Cross Edge is not one that I got right off the bat. Actually, when I first started 7th Gen, I had an Xbox 360, so that kind of excluded me from these kind of games initially. I did pick this up years later. I think since I've been doing YouTube videos, so I've probably talked about it before, just a little bit anyway. I have played some of it. It's another crossover game, and actually I think it's pretty cool. It's basically a Idea Factory game, Idea Factory and Compile Hard, I guess. So yeah, honestly, I'd say though my main takeaway from this is it feels like a handheld game. So it's almost a little weird having it on console. I think it might actually like have just felt better on the PSP or the Vita, something like that. This one I would say is getting a little hard to find these days, and most of these are like, it's just going to depend, they're not really going to be expensive. I don't think any of these are really rare, but as time goes by, the more uncommon ones I think are going to go up in value. This might be one of those. This is probably my most recent addition to my Nippon Ichi collection, and make sure that I'm going in the right order here. So yeah, Last Rebellion. Again, this was kind of an early release. I really wasn't, all over these games. But this one just, It didn't get very good reviews. This was kind of panned. Even people that I think are sort of, typically Nippon Ichi fans and were, really gave the game a chance, I think say, like, it's okay, it's playable, it's pretty decent, but it's not, anything to write home about. So I wasn't in a big rush to get this, and maybe a little bit dumb because it's a little tough to come by now. I did run into a copy of this. Again, I don't know that it's expensive. I don't know if what I would really call it, uncommon or sort of just, not plentiful in the wild, but regardless, this is the game. Honestly, I got this like within the past month or two, I would say. So it's definitely now is a good time to get those kind of games that you missed out on. Next up is Trinity Universe. Now this is also one I think you can come by copies of it. A little bit uncommon, you're not going to see this around all the time. This was another early release, and the first one that I had. This was actually a really nice gift from a friend for like my birthday or Christmas, I kind of forget which, but a really good friend gave this to me. I really appreciated this. I feel a little bit bad because I only played a bit of this. I didn't get way into it. Now this one seems like it, I don't know, this might be a straight up Idea Factory without Compile Hearts involvement. I'm not entirely sure. This did have kind of a unique, interesting system at the start where it had that motion portrait system. It was a little bit new at the time, but you have those talking portraits and they sort of breathe and they move. It's pretty common in this style of game, in now, but at the time it was a little bit unique. I remember thinking it looked really cool. And definitely, an interesting collection piece, without a doubt, for your Nippon Ichi collection. Next one, this was one that I was really excited about, and that is Atelier Rorona. Now, I was aware of and interested in, and even owned some of the Atelier games for the PlayStation 1. Now, I forget exactly, but I think it started as a PlayStation series. I guess that would kind of make sense, but I mean, it's not like Nippon Ichi developed. It's actually, these are by Gust, and yeah, anyway, I always thought they were really cool, but they weren't in English. And I wanted to play them more, just like understand more of what was going on. And, by the time my Japanese was a little better, and it probably wouldn't have been as big a deal for me to go through and, just look up some words and figure out how to get through the PlayStation games. This is essentially a remake of the first game, which I think is like Atelier Marie or Atelier, I think it was Marie. There was another one or two. But anyway, they brought this out for the PlayStation 3, so I was really excited about that. Now I did start playing it, and just didn't get very far. So I really feel bad about that. Some of these things, like, it's a little bit of a pile of shame here for me on some levels. But I like these games. This went on to obviously be a really expansive series, which I did talk about in a previous video. Moved on to being published by Koei Tecmo. So that is that. Next up we have Hyperdimension Neptunia. Now, this was something I was extremely interested in when it came out. I really liked the premise, the idea of these anthropomorphized video game consoles. I just thought that was really funny. I really liked the character designs and everything, and so I went ahead and picked this up. Now this is like the special edition, but this was the only way to purchase this physically originally. It was this or digitally. So I didn't go out of my way to get a special edition for this. This is just how it came. Now I think later on they did actually release the game as just sort of a regular PlayStation 3 case with the game only, like this. But this does come with like a deck of cards, and I think in here is like a hardcover art book and stuff like that. So it's a pretty cool limited edition. I'm not gonna like open it up and show you everything that's in it. But I would say like this edition. I mean, I think this game sold well enough for them to, release the following games in the series, but I don't think a lot of people were really on board with this. So I haven't really looked this up. I mean, I own this, so it's not really up on what this kind of limited edition goes for. But as a collector, I think it would be pretty. If this isn't expensive now, it would probably be something you'd want to add to your collection, because I could see it going up in the future, especially as it was the only way to physically get this when it was first released. Um, oh, here we go. My paper was getting in the way, so I apologize. There's going to be a pause there. I just, you're going to have to deal with it. Next one, Artanelico Koga, I'm going to assume is how you might say that. Knell of Arseal. Now, obviously, this is another Artanelico game. Again, I think I've said this before, but it's a series that I wasn't really into when it was out on the PlayStation 2. My friend was getting them as they came out and playing them, and I think, he kind of liked it, but it never really caught my interest all that much. So when this came out, I didn't pick it up right away. This was, something I got in the past, I don't know, several years. I might have talked about it in a pickups video. I don't really remember, but anyway, this is something you can still get. It's not tremendously expensive, but I don't think it's going to go down any more in price than it is right now. It's probably going to be like maybe double your average price of a PlayStation 3 game, and I'd say get it in your collection sooner rather than later. One that I don't have, and I'm kind of going in publishing order here, is Bleach Soul Resurrection. The only reason I don't have that is that I just honestly hadn't really gone through and made a list of the Nippon Ichi games in detail, because I honestly assumed I have most of them, and I do. Bleach Soul Resurrection, though, is nothing that was really on my radar. I've said before, I do like Bleach, but it's not. I'm not rushing out to buy every game that comes out for it. So anyway, I'm going to keep an eye open for that. I would recommend that you guys keep an eye open for that. No idea what that goes for, so you guys are just going to have to look that up. Next up is Disgaea 4, A Promise Unforgotten. Now, again, the Disgaea series. My introduction to the Disgaea series was in some ways Disgaea 3. That one I actually played a lot of. I beat the game, sort of like the story, and then actually started, grinding and doing some more like the end game stuff, which is, really like 80% of the game. This one, unfortunately, I haven't played. I sort of got done with that, and just between the other games that I had, I just wasn't ready to dive right into another Disgaea game. But it seems cool. This, as far as I know, did have maybe even a couple of special editions. Again, it's a little hard to research, so I would do your own research on that if you're interested in the special editions for this. But this is not very expensive. I'd say this is pretty much bottomed out right now, so I definitely want to pick this up while the game is good. So I'm looking at my list again here, but we've got Atelier Totori. So this is what I would say is kind of the beginning of the annualization of the Atelier series on the PlayStation 3, for better or worse. This is probably also, I would say, maybe the first one that's in kind of the modern style of graphics. We'll talk about it a little bit later. They actually redid Atelier Rorona with updated graphics to sort of bring it up to par with the rest of the series, because I think as of this game, they really kind of upped the quality of the character models and everything, and just sort of brought everything a little more up to date, and it looked really nice. I almost think that I played a little bit more of this than I did of Rorona, actually, just because I popped Rorona in, and I just hadn't really gotten very far in it. So by the time this came out, I actually just wanted to check this out. And so I played a bit of this, not a lot, but definitely some to just sort of get a flavor for the gameplay. And again, it's I haven't really gotten into these games, but I definitely hope to do so at some point, because I think they're pretty cool. So that's Atelier Totori. Again, I'm not sure about special editions on that. Definitely, they've been doing special editions for the Atelier series. I'm just not really sure if Nippon Ichi did them. I would assume so. But next up is Hyperdimension Neptunia Mark II. Now, Neptunia Mark II was essentially my introduction to Neptunia. I did play some of the original, but this one, again, we had sort of Rorona and then Totori come out right after, it felt like. We had Neptunia come out, and then a year later we had Neptunia Mark II come out. So I just started playing Mark II, and I really enjoyed this game. It's a little bit of an outlier in terms of the graphics, where like all the character portraits are 3D, which I think is fine, but it's a really different look for the series. But you know, you have all sort of a whole different cast of characters as the main characters in this game. All the old characters come back, and a whole bunch of new characters are introduced, and it's a fun game. This definitely had a special edition, but I didn't like rush out to get that because, you know, like I said, I wasn't actively trying to get the special editions for Neptunia. That was just the only way you could get the first one physically. So I just got the regular edition of this. Now, because I loved this game so much, I kind of wish that I'd gotten the special edition for it, and I definitely did for the next game. But you know, it's kind of, I can sort of take or leave special editions personally. As a collector, you know, that's just going to be up to you if you collect special editions or not. No idea what the special edition of this goes for. This is like your typical NIS RPG. It's going to be like, you know, pretty much double like the average price of a PS3 game. I don't see it going down from that. And this is actually literally the order in which Nippon Ichi published these games. So you can see it was like, you know, Neptunia, Atelier, Neptunia, Atelier. You know, you really had these coming out, you know, with some in between. But, you know, Gus, the publishers were really milking these series. So Atelier Voodoo comes out. I didn't really play this. Again, I think this had a special edition, not really sure. Again, it's just going to go for like the same amount that all of these Atelier games go for. And, you know, is it hard to find? Is it not hard to find? It's kind of the same as the rest of these, I would say. Maybe a little less common than, you know, stuff like the Disgaea series, because those, I'd say, are a little more popular. Anyway, there's that. Okay, so next up, this is a special edition that I did get. I think mostly just like it's a whole new IP, but I just thought like the characters were really cute. So here we have, this is just kind of how I keep these. This is Mugen Souls. It's actually, oh gosh, if I ever even tried reading the, yeah, I don't actually know what that says. I would normally look it up, put it in a annotation, but we're not going to do that this time. So anyway, Mugen Souls. This is the game. And obviously, a special edition came with these Nendoroid figures, the Poochie Nendoroids. They're like the small ones, not the nicer like big Nendoroids. But they're still really detailed. They're nicely painted. They're really cool. I've showed them off before. I'm not going to go into depth about that. I'm pretty sure that was all that came with the special edition. I could be wrong. Again, there might have been multiple special editions. I know I really wanted the one with this. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, crap, there are. Like, I do have some art books and stuff that are, like, set aside, and I forgot to grab those, so, you know, again, just don't rely on me for, like, exactly what's in the special editions of these even, because, you know, there's stuff on my shelf sometimes I forget to grab. So, anyway, there's that. Oh, yeah, and so, I mean, again, like, this special edition, honestly, like, it was up on their store for quite a while. I think they might have overproduced it just a bit, so, I wouldn't expect this special edition in particular to be as hard to come by or as expensive as maybe like other special editions. And honestly, this game is, it's good. I played quite a bit of it and I enjoyed it. My friend actually played more of it than I did, and he really liked it, but he got really upset at, like, I don't know, trying to get the last trophy or something for it. Like, he played through the game twice and like still didn't get it, and so he was frustrated and threw up his hands and stopped playing the game. So there's that. But yeah, you know, it's kind of a cool game, but I think, like, I don't know if it really caught on as much as they were hoping. It definitely enough for them to release a sequel, which I'll show off in a bit. So continuing with special editions, you can probably tell just sort of in the sequence of the years here, it was me, you know, not paying as much attention to Nippon Ichi and not necessarily going for their special editions as much to going a little special edition crazy. You know, I had a good job, you know, enough money I could, you know, get these, and, you know, I had like shelf space to put them on and things like that. So anyway, so I started getting a few more of these. This is the special edition for Hyperdimension Neptunia Victory. Again, this is just like their funny, weird naming sense with the Neptunia series, which will continue as we move on here. I'm not going to show you what's in here. You you know, I haven't really checked to see like what the special edition is going for. But you know, everyone really likes Victory. I like Victory, at least in the West. I'm not sure if it was quite as popular. Just in the out of the games in the series in Japan as it is here, but you know, regardless, it's really well regarded, and you know, I think like, you know, just gameplay wise and you know, just everything, the story and the characters, I think this is a really cool entry in the series. So happy to have the special edition, and you know, again, as usual, this is probably going to be maybe double your average price for a regular PlayStation 3 game. Average game on its own. Whoa. So another special edition. I was willing to just bite also on the special edition for this, especially because the game just looks amazing. The graphics are really cool in this. I loved what they were doing with them. They're all like, it's basically hand drawn 2D. Like characters. So you basically have like hand drawn 2D sprites on like 3D backgrounds, and it's just really cool. I like this game. I haven't played as much of it as I want to, but I did really enjoy what I played of it. It's funny. You know, it's just sort of, it's really goofy, you know, kind of tropey, like anime-ish. You know, so if you're like hating on the weeb games, like you might not like this, but I mean, as you can see, like the artwork's great, and the like the in-game, the graphics are just really cool. I really like them. You get this little hardcover art book and like a nice big poster, and I think a soundtrack CD. Again, I said I wasn't really starting to show all this stuff off, but this one's easy to access. So yeah, so there's that. In terms of the special edition of this, you know, I'd say, I think again, for some reason this game is a little bit less sought after. You know, I think you're probably going to see more of the special editions available. You know, and I think the game itself is probably going to be a little bit cheaper, too, maybe than some of the other games. But you know, I wouldn't rest on your laurels, because I could see this being the kind of thing that's a lot more sought after in the future. I just think, for whatever reason, it maybe didn't catch on quite as much, you know, as they were expecting when it was released here, which I think is too bad, because I think it's a pretty cool game. Next up, we have Disgaea D2: A Brighter Darkness, and I can tell you with certainty that this had like a soundtrack and like a little art print that came with it. Don't ask me like if that was a you know, an extra for buying it from a particular retailer, or if it was like kind of a semi-special edition or something like that. I know that there is a copy of it that has those, because I have them. I just forgot to grab them. So, you know, if you're looking for this, you might want to look for it with the soundtrack CD and the little art print. I put a picture of them up, but again, you know, we're just gonna have to deal with that. But yeah, so this is the first time that they went back and like did a Disgaea game where they brought characters back from a previous Disgaea. Normally they're like these really standalone things, kind of like Final Fantasy. So, you know, sort of like Final Fantasy X had Final Fantasy X-2, Disgaea 2 has Disgaea D2. Or no, maybe this was the original Disgaea, has Disgaea D2. I think so, yeah, because this is like Laharl and what's-her-face there. So, yeah, anyway, there's that. I haven't played this at all, unfortunately. I'd like to, you know, dive into these Disgaea games. But again, you know, it's hard when these come out so frequently sometimes. You know, I feel like every year or two you're getting like another Disgaea, another Atelier, and I can't keep up, you know, unfortunately. For better or worse, I don't make the time. Next up we have the Guided Fate Paradox. Another special edition. I was really just getting on top of all the special editions here during this time period while I could. And actually, I really like this special edition. I've showed it off before. It's got like these really cool art prints in it, and it's a cool. But I'm sure, I don't even remember exactly what's in there, but go back and watch my video for it. I played some of this. I didn't play a lot of it. I believe it is a roguelike, so it's a little unique in that respect. And I think you're playing with like a bunch of these angel characters. You can sort of see, I don't know if that's genuinely a halo overhead. I think it is. Yeah. So anyway, I'm not going to talk a lot about it. Again, the special edition, is it hard to come by? Is it expensive? I don't know. They did release a another game in this series. Oops. And that just came out last year. So, it's kind of still it's still kind of an active series, and it's a pretty cool game. So I would say definitely, if you don't have this, look at grabbing it. In fact, I feel like I've seen this around, and again, probably sort of like uncommon, but not impossible to come by. But I almost seem to remember it like being a little more expensive than I was expecting. So I would say it's going to be at least twice what your average PlayStation 3 game is. I'd keep an eye out for these. You'd probably make sure that you get Guided Fate Paradox and the sequel, which I also actually don't have yet. So the next special edition that I got, which I am knocking over here, is The Witch and the Hungry Knight. This is also like a pretty cool special edition, I think, because it comes with a figurine. I guess I like figurines. You got this little, again, a Puccine Android of Metalia, and I don't know. I don't think I'm gonna like lift her up. I'm just gonna keep her there. You get an art book, the game, obviously, and a soundtrack. So that's pretty cool. And this, unfortunately, is one that I haven't played much of. I think I popped it in and played a little bit of it. But yeah, they did actually redo this for the PlayStation 4, which is interesting. I'm not really sure why they chose to redo this in particular. But that is something that happened, and so you can get it on both systems. Certainly, if you're collecting for the PS3, I'd prioritize getting this on the PS3. The PS4 might be a good good thing to get as well if you like the game. And I do remember it was pretty cool. They let you sort of vote on some of the where the artwork would appear for the various portraits and stuff they have on the front and the back and stuff, which was pretty fun. And yeah, I don't know much about the game. I don't really know how much this special edition goes for, but definitely a game that I would recommend you have in your Nippon Ichi collection, without a doubt. So we're down to kind of the last handful of games, and for better or worse, I sort of got off that special edition train. Partially out of necessity for both space and money, and just partially because yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I need to have special editions for everything in the world, at least from Nippon Ichi. But we have Mugen Souls Z. This was the sequel to Mugen Souls, and unfortunately I didn't play a lot of this. My friend who had beaten the first one, I think maybe got into this one a little bit more than I did too. But I liked the first one, so I'd really be interested in checking this one out. Unfortunately, I don't like to talk about this or harp on it too much, I guess, but there was a bit of a censorship that occurred in the first game, which I don't know if that carried over or not into the next game. I don't know also if that might have affected the sales a little bit. Like I said, that first one, I think it's a little easier to find. It's more closer to just the average price of a PlayStation 3 game, not double like a lot of the RPGs are. And it's yeah, I don't know how well this one sold in particular. If it didn't sell as well, then you definitely, I would say, want to really want to pick this up, because that means that there aren't as many copies that are going to be out there. So but I don't think that this is particularly more expensive than the first one. It might be your typical RPG price these days. Mugen Souls Z. Oh yeah. So we have Fairy Fencer F. Now this is I would say one of their hits. Rather than their misses. I think there were a handful, just these new IPs coming out, which is really cool. Again, and you're talking, this is like Compile Heart and Idea Factory. Mugen Souls, I think, yeah, same thing. So, a lot of this stuff is kind of Idea Factory and Compile Heart. Although actually, well, this is Nippon Ichi published. The Guided Fate Paradox. Not published, developed. Anyway, this is IF and Compile Heart, and from everything I hear is it's good. Sort of genuinely good. People really like it. it did have another version that came out on the PlayStation 4, which, as far as I know, is actually just kind of an update of this one. I don't think it's sort of like a sequel. I think it's basically like an update of this with some extra stuff. Maybe kind of like a definitive edition. Not 100% on that, but I'm like, kind of 80% that is the case. Anyway, I'm just showing off the PlayStation 3 version here. I would say you definitely want to have this game. It's a little bit more sought after. It's also probably about as easy to find as most of these, which is, a little uncommon. So, I would say hop on this one before it starts to get more sought after. Did this have a special edition? Probably. I'm not really sure. Do you want that or not? That is entirely up to you. Next up, whoops, as I smack the camera, is Natural Doctrine. Now, I'm showing this on the PlayStation 4 because that's the version I have, but it was released on the PS3. And you would probably want to pick up the PlayStation 3 version. I'm realizing that I probably want to do that for collection purposes. Again, I don't think it's going to be super expensive. At the most, I would say it's going to be double your average price for a used PlayStation 3 game. This is another one of those ones that, like, this really should have been a hit. Like I shouldn't say a big hit, because I don't know that the gameplay is going to, like, gel with everyone, but, like, anybody that likes, sort of strategy RPGs, I think, like, could really, really get into this. I've sung its praises before. It was my game of the year in 2015. It's a great, great game. But I think it was kind of a miss. So, for better or worse, that might mean that there's not, like, as many copies of it out there available for PS3 or PS4. So, is this going to be a collection piece? Possibly, probably. There were special editions for this. I think there were, like, multiple ones. You got, like a carrying bag, like a dungeon bag or something like that, and just some odd stuff with it. It's nothing that I got, but I don't know what those are going for, but you might want to keep an eye out for those if you like to collect special editions. The last couple games I don't have, and that's just because they're newer, and I cooled off a little bit on just picking up the new games on the PlayStation 3, obviously, because the PS4 is out. Now, for any collector, of course, what that means is that it's actually extra, extra important to get those. And I probably shouldn't be sitting on them too much. That is the Awakened Fate Ultimatum, which I said is the sequel to whatever, the Awakened Fate Paradox. I assume that this one is also developed by Nippon Ichi directly. And then they did some collections. So they